Gavin McLean, how are you,
Mel?
friend? Did you just call me a Mel?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow. That's
All right.
interesting. Yeah, good, mate. Good. I am totally jet lagged, but I'm not going to let this stop me. It's going to be fine.
I can tell considering I asked you where you were, not how you are.
Okay, yeah, that makes a very, very good start.
Where are you? Yeah,
I am Dan Holloway. That is how I start my conversation. Oh dear, how have you been, my friend? I feel like we haven't talked for ages.
Yeah, I know. I quite like it that way.
Yeah, me too. Let's make it a more.
Are you at home?
Thing. Yeah, I just flew in last night back from Costa Rica.
How was it?
It's open.
Amazing, really good. What's up, hey everybody? Good to see you. Yeah, Costa Rica was amazing. It was really good. I did my webinar last night, and I literally walked through the door 10 minutes before it started, and I was just like, just all over the place. And then last night I went to bed about midnight, and then I woke up at 2:50 a.m. and then I was just awake for the rest of the night. And I got up at 4 a.m. And the good thing was, I got an insane amount of work.
Let's go downstairs.
Let's go. Yeah, Hamish, you go downstairs, buddy. Muted. There we go. Cool. Yeah. So I actually don't feel too bad.
You sleep on the plane?
I've got a couple of hours sleep. Yeah, I got a little bit of sleep, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at your GDPR thingy because last time I checked, your website's still not compliant. I'm like 2 ticks off.
Yeah.
But it's something to do with Tag Manager and Cookiebot and Holly's contacts us support, and I just wanted to throw my computer out the window.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay, I haven't actually gone through that myself yet, so it might be worth doing that, I reckon.
Yeah, okay, we can holler. I'll share whatever I know and get to that stage.
Let's catch up after this call then, and then we'll do it.
We're doing accountability after school.
Say again? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I'll dive onto that. I could do that. So we'll talk about it then.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do, before we get started, we'll give a couple more minutes just for people to join. Hopefully, did everyone on the call, I mean, obviously you got the joining link, okay, but did you all get an email like 15 minutes ago, 10, 15 minutes ago? Is that when it came through?
Yeah.
About 10 minutes ago. All right. Awesome. Cool. So just give everyone a few minutes to join. I'm just going to mute up everybody. With me. You all, especially Gav. That's better. Cool. Right, so we'll give everyone a few minutes to join. In the meantime, just to let you guys know the structure of what we're going to do here. For anybody who came to the Black Retreat, you've got a pretty good idea of how this panned out and what we're going to go through today. But essentially, it was very powerful, and it was all to do with overcoming fear, mastering the things that are holding you back, and so on and so forth, and really being able to take those steps forward. Pascal, it says you're muted, but I can still hear you. I'm not sure what's going on. There we go. I'll try that now. Hopefully, you should be right. Cool. So, overcoming fear. By the way, during this call, there's going to be a couple of opportunities for people to dive out and go through this kind of stuff live. So if you're feeling brave in the essence of this call and you want to overcome some fear, let's dive, feel free to dive out, put yourself out there, and let's break through some of the things that are holding you back. I can safely say that the people on the Black Retreat who were willing to do that and willing to put themselves in that space, I know got a lot more value just because naturally the breakthroughs and the shifts that we make when we're in that kind of space where we get vulnerable, that's the stuff that makes the real difference, right? So keep that in mind. So that being said, let's begin. And if anyone joins the call as we go through, hopefully you guys can pick up the gist of where we are with this. Now, I'm going to stick to a similar structure. And the way that I started this at the Black Retreat was authentically sharing one of my biggest fears, which is actually at the moment quite relevant because I'm going to London tomorrow to master it. And that was fear of approaching women. So throughout my whole life, since I was a teenager and I got shot down, it was certainly one time that I can remember, but like several times in school, you'd ask a girl out and you'd be really embarrassed. And I used to go bright red. I'd always go bright red at school. And it got to like a sort of self-fulfilling vicious circle because the more red that you go, people would then tease you for going red. And it would mean then that next time you'd go red, and then people would tease you again. And it was just like an endless thing. And one of the most embarrassing, horrific things I can remember was I asked a girl out, and basically I got shot down, and everybody heard it. And then it was like a running joke for ages. And I was like so embarrassed about it. And then I'd subconsciously always look for proof and reasons as to why I wasn't good at approaching women. And like, I'd always sort of gone through my life, and by the time I was sort of 19, 20, 21 and alcohol became a thing, I would do all right for myself. I'd have a few beers, I'd go out, have a good night out, and I'd always, you know, do all right, because when you've had a few beers, you get a bit of confidence and you get a bit of courage. So that was how I lived my life for like 10 years. You know, if I wanted to go out and meet people and so on and so forth, I'd be relying on alcohol. And so it was never enough of a problem for me to really do something to truly master it, like truly get on top of it. And it wasn't until I did my 90-day no alcohol challenge starting January the 1st of this year, 2018, through to April the 1st. And I suddenly realized how terrifying bars and clubs are when you're sober, and like trying to talk to girls when you've not had a few drinks to just take the edge off it. I was like, oh wow, like I didn't realize how much I used alcohol to mask this throughout my whole life. And that like brought it into reality that this is the thing that I need to master. And then coaching this stuff on the Black Retreat of overcoming fear, I'm like, I can't authentically coach this stuff and then not go and master this one fear that's always throughout my life been the one thing that I've never truly, you know, sorted. I've knocked off all the ones about finance, about business, about talking on stage, public speaking, blah, 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 one by one, knocking them all out. And the last one left is this one that's always overshadowed everything. So I booked a course, which I'm going to in London tomorrow. It's a 3-day course. It's a boot camp. I say boot camp. It's not like an SFM event, because the event starts at 7 p.m. and it finishes at 2 a.m. And that's like every night. So you can guess what they're doing. It's like live in the scene, you know, on set, if you want to call it that, like live coaching and stuff. So anyway, that's happening tomorrow. So that's my authentic share of like my fear. And so what I did on the Black Retreat is I asked 2 questions to people. Might be worth, guys, grab a pen if you haven't got one handy, pen and paper, because I'm going to ask you to write a couple of things down, and then we're going to do a couple of exercises. Holly says, watch out London bars. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know quite how much damage I'm going to do, but we'll see how it goes. Should be interesting. Okay, so number 1, I want you guys to write down a current fear that you feel is currently holding you back in your business right now, currently holding you back from progressing to the next level in your business. All right, current fear. Guys on the Black Retreat, if you want to redo this exercise, if you've had some shifts since then, Caroline, if you've had any breakthroughs or anything to that effect, feel free to redo this exercise as well. And then if you've got something for that, guys, number 2, so I want you to write down something that you would consider to be one of the biggest fears or the biggest fear of your life. And this can be anything. This can be fear of your marriage breaking up. This can be fear of, you know, growing old and being single. This could be fear of, blimey, I don't know, losing kids, whatever, you know, whatever the single biggest fear that you have in your life is, write it down. Now, I want you to pick one of those fears that you've written down. So whichever one that you feel, and I'll let you choose, it doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong, you know, out of one of those 2 fears, pick the one that you'd most like to master or get on top of. And then I want you guys to close your eyes. Now, I want you to imagine that that fear that you've chosen is happening, is panning out. Right? Get yourself in that space. What do you see? What do you feel? What's going through your head at the moment? And the important thing with this exercise is I want you guys to really become aware and pay attention to how your body is responding. What are the feelings in your body? What's happening to your heart rate? Is it getting faster? What about your breathing? How's your breathing? Is it long and deep, or is it shallow? How do the palms of your hands feel? Sweaty, tingly, clammy? What does your body feel like when it's feeling this fear response? Now guys, open your eyes for a minute, but hold on to that feeling. Stay aware of what that feels like, because your body's reaction to fear, how your body reacts to fear. If I said to you, are you the feelings in your body? What would you say? Are those feelings you? No. They're just a response, aren't they? They're a biological response. So we have a thought process that's going through our heads that's not actually real, it's not happening. And our body is going through a biological response that is causing a physical reaction. But that reaction is not us. That is separate from us. Okay, it's the body, it's not us. So if you were, let's say you were in someone else's body right now. If Gavin was in, I don't know, Tatiana's body, for example, would Gavin still be Gavin, or would he be Tatiana? Gavin would be Gavin, right? You know, if you're in someone else's body, you still be you, just in someone else's body. And so this is the concept. When we have a biological response to fear, does anyone, by the way, know why we have this biological response, where it comes from, what the purpose of it is? Now, most people on the Black Retreat would say survival, which is correct. So imagine like, say 20,000 years ago, primitive Homo sapiens, cavemen, in their little tribes of 50 humans or so, 50 Homo sapiens. Now imagine one of those humans decided that he wanted to go and explore over the mountain and see what was on the other side, right? He wanted to venture out into the unknown. Now, if you're living 20,000 years ago in your small tribe of 50 people, and you decide to go out on your own into the wilderness, there is a very high chance that you are going to die. You will get either killed by a saber-toothed tiger, or you'll suffer disease, or you'll starve to death, or you'll freeze to death, or any number of other things that would make it a very, very risky venture to go out on your own into the unknown. And so humans who would develop a reluctance to do this, let's say, they're like, you know what, I'm going to stay with my tribe here. I'm not going to go out up over the mountain to explore what's on the other side. I'm going to stay safe here. And so what happens is, through natural selection, the humans who are brave and bold and like stupid, you know, who go out to adventure, they're much more likely to die, and their genetic code gets wiped out. They don't reproduce, and they don't pass that boldness down through the bloodlines. Similarly, the humans that have a much stronger aversion to not go out into the unknown, this biological response of fear, they're more likely to stay put, which means they're more likely to stay alive and more likely to reproduce, and therefore the natural environment favors selecting the humans that have this inbuilt fear response to dangerous situations. And so over hundreds of thousands of years, this response will get programmed through animals and then humans, until we have this fear response that we have now, this biological response. But it is important to recognize that this is all it is. It is a biological response that we have passed down through generations and generations and generations, that was designed to keep us alive. However, in this day and age that we live in right now, it is no longer relevant. All right, we're generally speaking, if we go into the unknown in this world, in our first world lives, we're very unlikely to instantly suffer mortal danger and die. And the thing is, if we want to be entrepreneurs, right, if we want to exist in this space, if we want to grow, the only place that growth exists is in the unknown. It's outside of our comfort zones. We cannot become who we want to become from within our comfort zones, because if we could, we would already be there. And if we're not there, it's because we need to go into the unknown. So we have a choice to make, you know. Do we want to be an entrepreneur? Do we want to go down this path? Is this important to us? And if the answer is yes, and if it is more important than anything, we've got to face the fact that one, we're going to experience fear and we've got to overcome it. We don't have a choice. But number two, realize it is nothing more than a biological response in the body. So if I said to you, of thinking in terms of feelings, would anyone stop achieving their goals if they felt the feeling of happiness? No, right? Would you stop achieving your goals if you felt the feeling of a little bit drunk? Would you stop achieving your goals if you felt the feeling of you were a little bit cold? No. Would you stop achieving your goals if you felt the feeling of fear? A little bit different, right? It's no different. It's literally just a feeling in the body. Now, if your fear that you've written down wasn't hindering you right now, just take a second to think about how would the results in your business be different if this fear wasn't holding you back? Maybe write it down. How would your results in your business be different if this fear wasn't holding you back? How would your business look? What decisions would you make? Would you have a financial result? Would you have more of a growth result? Adrian, thank you for sharing your screen, but not right now. Let me just stop that. There we go. I know Zoom's got quite a few tempting buttons on the bottom. There you are. It's all good. Right. So think about that. How would your results in your business be different if you weren't feeling that fear? Now, let's go through a couple of tools. So a lot of the time, fears, generally speaking, they can come from different scenarios, but a lot of the time, thank you, Fatma, I'm glad that's powerful. A lot of the time, there will be specific things that will trigger fear. Now, Tony Robbins has a statement which I love in the context of fear because it is so damn relevant and appropriate for isolating what's really going on. He says, broad general statements cover up limiting beliefs in our mind. Broad general statements cover up limiting beliefs in our mind. All right. So when we say, for example, when we say, I can't afford it, when we say it's too risky, when we say anything that in this, it's not a specific statement. Tony Robbins says you must get specific. If you say you can't afford it, why can't you afford it? Oh, and let's talk about, again, positioning at DA Black, for example. Why can't you afford it? Oh, because $31,600 is too much money. Okay, why is it too much money? Could you afford a monthly payment of, let's say, $650? No, that's too much. Okay, why is it too much? Get specific. Could you find $200 a month by saving some money and not going out as much or not eating out as much in the month? Well, yeah, I could probably get $200 a month saved from not eating out as much. Okay, cool. Could you work a few extra hours at work and get a little bit of extra cash that way? Another couple of $100s. Yeah, I guess, could probably get another couple of $100 there. Okay, cool. And if you needed to, if you drove for Uber for, let's say, an extra 10 hours a week, could you then find the final $250 if you needed to? Well, yeah, I guess it could probably do that as well. Okay. So if it was important enough to you, could you find a way to find $650 a month? If you had a gun to your head, and you've heard me say this analogy before, if you had a gun to your head and you had to get that $650, would you make it work? Yes, you would, right? And so therefore, if we're using these broad general statements saying, I can't afford it, what we're really doing is we're covering up the limiting belief. We're covering up the fear that's really going on there, which is that we don't want to face the fact that this is a big, scary decision. But if we're serious about walking down this path and we're never going to quit no matter what, and therefore we'll succeed, we need to face the fear of deciding whether this is the path that we're going to go down. And that might manifest as fear of judgment. What will people think if I fail? Fear of failure. It might manifest as fear of, running out of money. What's that going to mean? And so on and so forth. And it's very, very important to really get specific about your goals. What is it? Why is it that you feel you can't achieve your goals at the moment? What is stopping you? and recognize when we say broad general statements, you catch yourself, you go, no, that is bullshit, and you get specific. Really break it down. And a lot of the time you realize that this whole thing that we thought was holding us back is nothing more than a smokescreen, right? It starts to disappear when we get specific. Now, I want to do an exercise with you guys, and then we're going to dive into, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity after this for someone to come out and share their experience. And then off the back of that, if they want to really dive into their fear and sort of analyze what's going on and break it down, that would be awesome. Now, the exercise that we're going to go through is called the deathbed exercise. Who's heard of it before? Hands up. Who's done it before? Yeah, a few of you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so this is going to take probably about 6 or 7 minutes. And again, I'm going to be asking you guys to close your eyes and really get present with this. Really listen to what I'm saying and really put yourself in this space. And that is the way to take this exercise on, that's going to enable you to get some perspectives and some shifts about what's really important. Like for me, I don't cry often. When I did this exercise, I cried. And I actually had tears in my eyes as well at the Black Retreat with some other people that went through this. So let's go through it, and then we'll see if anyone wants to share afterwards. So guys, close your eyes, sit comfortable in your seat. So feet flat on the floor, get comfortable. With your eyes closed, I want you guys to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now I want you to imagine that you're lying on your deathbed. You're running out of time. You've only got a few hours left to live. As you're lying there, your body's frail. You can feel each breath gradually getting harder and harder and harder. You can see your family standing around. What do their faces look like? How are they responding in this moment as you feel yourself slipping closer and closer to the end? As each breath gets harder and harder and harder. Now, as you lie here in this moment, I want you to think back over your life. Think of all the things that you've done. Think of all the things that you've achieved. And now I want you to think about that one thing that you never got the chance to achieve. That one thing that you wish you had done, that you wish that you'd been bolder. You wished you'd taken a chance when you could. But now, as you're nearing the final minutes of your life, you know that you're never going to be able to do that one thing. What is it that you regret in this moment? Regret that you never had the chance to do. What do you say to yourself as you start to slip away? As your time is about to run out? Why does it hurt? Why do you regret it? What would you do differently if you had another chance? Now in this moment, when you feel the pain of the regret, knowing that you're never going to do this one thing, I want you to imagine that all of a sudden, you start coming back. Time starts rewinding. You start moving backwards through time. Each breath starts to get easier and easier and easier. And you're coming back and you're coming back and you're rewinding and your life is flashing backwards before you as you move back and back and back and back through time, and you get closer and closer to the present moment, to where you are right now. You see that you have your whole life ahead of you again, and you're moving and you're flying backwards through your life, and it's moving faster and faster and faster in front of you until finally you come back into this present moment and you realize that you've got every opportunity in front of you again. You don't have to regret never doing that one thing. You've got the chance to do this all one more time. Now, what is that thing that you never did? What is that one thing that if you had the chance to do it one more time, you would do? In this moment, I want you to realize you now have that chance. You get to do that one thing. You get the opportunity to not make that same mistake twice. How important is it to you that you commit your life to making this happen? What is that one thing to you? I want you to tell yourself whether you're committed to doing this. Are you dedicated to doing that one thing to make that happen for yourself, for your life, for the people around you that you care about? And if you are, is there anything that's going to stop you? You tell yourself how important this is to you right now, and you decide whether you're ready to commit to doing this. Are you ready to do this? If you're ready, make the decision, make the choice, because this is your life and you now have the chance to live it. Guys, in your own time, you need to open your eyes, come back into the present. Whew, even as I do that, it's like just energy. Shake yourselves out. Okay. Annie, thank you. Glad it helped. Guys, has anyone got anything that they would like to share? Please wave your hands. I've got 3 screens of people, so if I don't spot you straight away, apologies. Anyone got anything that they want to share? Who's feeling brave? Mirelle, is that a little, yeah? Come on then, out you come.
Chris is laughing already. No, I don't. I don't have anything to share. The frustrating bit for me was that all the feelings and everything was there, but I couldn't pinpoint it to one thing. And I think, and it's so frustrating. I can't take it.
Got it. All right, this is interesting. So do you mean you've struggled to sort of find a purpose, find a passion, find something that's really driving you?
Yeah, I believe so. It keeps changing every day. So yeah, I guess so.
Got it. Okay. Now, let me share something with you, because this one thing and this exercise, for different people, it totally manifests in different ways. And a lot of the time it's very unexpected. Did anyone have a bit of an unexpected result, by the way? Like something that they didn't think would come up, a little bit different? A couple of people. Yeah. Okay. So the important thing, Morale, is that we need to let ourselves be okay with being in a space where we're not attached to how things should be, right? Because there is no way that things should be. The only way that things will ever be is what they are. And for yourself, when we feel that we must have a purpose, we must have a passion. When I say one thing, if the interpretation is like, oh, they're like, I feel that this one thing should be manifesting in this way, but I can't find this one thing in this way. And it's easy to kind of like get hung up on this negative feeling. And again, I get it. Like, and the reason I get it is because this exactly explains a whole period that I went through after platinum, where I'm like, okay, look, but I get my values and I get what's important, and I get my purpose statement, which is to create a spark that ignites the fire within others to confidently take action so that they're inspired to become who they're meant to be. Like, I get it and it resonates, but I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't know how my life is going to look. I don't have like this one big goal. And honestly, I still don't, right? I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing in 3 years' time. What I know though, is that everything that I do with, I do what I want to do. I do what I am passionate about. I recognize that even in the short time that I've been doing this, that has manifested and changed in different ways. The SFM has always been like an integral part of what I'm doing moving forward, but the actual impact that I want to create is quite fluid, right? I don't have like this one golden shining light that I'm always driving towards. So when we talk about this one thing, your one thing may change. You may not have a one thing at this point. Your one thing might be to show up in life authentically in every moment. Your one thing might to commit to being the best version of yourself to help others. Your one thing could be whatever you want to be doing and what you feel in this moment is right for you. So it's important, and it's hard, I get it, but it's important to try and let go of the labels and be okay with the space that you're in. You know, explore what you like, explore what drives you, explore what you're passionate about, but never feel that you should be doing a certain thing, or you should be, you know, finding a reason or a goal or something that's like this big thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good. Are you enough? You know the answer to this question. Come on, say it.
I know it's yes. Do I believe it? No. Yes, I do believe it.
Why do you believe it?
Because I can't be more than me.
Exactly. Who's the best version of you?
Me.
Is there anyone better at being you?
No, of course not.
No. You're the best you. You are more than enough, because you are exactly everything that you could ever be. There is no other version of you that you could be, because the stuff that you're experiencing is exactly what you need to experience to continue to be the best version of yourself. It's the lessons you need to keep growing and keep moving forwards. So you're always enough, because the fact that you're you is enough. That's all there can ever be.
There's always,
Say again.
There's always a better version of me.
What is better?
I don't know, something that, I don't know, I'll let you know tomorrow what was better.
Love that. Good perspective. Thanks for coming up, Maral. Appreciate it. Anyone got anything they want to share, or if not relating to that, because I know a lot of it's personal. Charlene, do you wave your hand? Awesome.
I like how you said, don't be attached to how this should be, which really spoke volumes, because it links to everything that you're saying. Because right now, the space I'm in, you know, I've been looking for a job in my arena for 14, 15 months. I'm top of my game. I've won awards in everything I do. So it doesn't make sense. So I want to have that money so I can build this. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, it should be this way, but it's not. And then you get stressed, and I go, oh, I'm worried about the money and all that. And I would say what you went through wasn't as impactful for me, because just for the very fact, I had a real life impact. I literally almost died in 90. I should have died. So that was my experience of what you just took us through. So my purpose is literally, if I were to die, if I would have died then, I wouldn't have affected my mom and dad when they were needing help and they were down. And so when I look at that deathbed experience of what you're talking about, I just want to serve more. I want one person that's hungry, I want to give them another morsel to eat. I want to give them another chance, because we do a lot of outreach in Africa, you know, just somebody another job, you know, that doesn't have food to eat today, you know. So that vision is very clear for me. And so I literally in true life almost died. So I know that experience. So, yeah. So thank you for saying this, because that, how it should be, really is a good saying, because we get these things in our mind of how we think it should be, and we should just rest.
Yeah.
And just go through the experience. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. And thank you for coming out and sharing that, because that is an absolutely awesome perspective that you've just given everyone as well. And that's exactly the point of this exercise, is to put you in that space where you really do get the benefits of having essentially that moment when nothing else matters really in the grand scheme of things, when you're on that deathbed. All the things that hold us back, fear of what people might think, fear of looking like an idiot, fear of, running out of money. Like, just out of interest, did anyone on the call during that deathbed exercise, did anyone think, I wish I'd never got myself in credit card debt? I wish that I'd never not had enough money in my bank account. I wish that I'd never looked like an idiot when I said that thing to a group of people in public, and like blah 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 whatever. Like, not one single person on that call would have had anything like that during that exercise. Why? Because it doesn't matter, right? In the grand scheme of things, that shit is not important. And so here's the thing. If we recognize that all this stuff that we have, like these crippling fears about in the moment, right? This, what about debt? What if I run out of money? Like, what if I can't figure it out? And so on and so forth. One, in the grand scheme of things, it will never matter. Two, it exists only within our minds, right? Here's the thing. If you are feeling fear, anxiety, and any worry, especially, that is generally a result, unless you're in mortal danger. Is anyone about to be hit by a train, by the way? Just to double check. No one about to drown? No one about to get mauled by a tiger? No? Okay, right. Everyone is currently safe. So here's the thing. If you're currently feeling fear, anxiety, if you're worrying, you've got this thing in your mind that's just like driving you crazy because you're trying to figure out how you're going to maneuver through this debt and how you're going to, pay your bills and how you're going to try and work out getting a new job and all this stuff moving forwards. In the present moment, that stuff does not exist. It only exists in a future-paced reality that we're creating. And the reason that we're creating that is because we're trying to find certainty in an uncertain future. We're trying to connect the dots moving forward and see the path. But if we know that we're never going to quit, no matter what, right? If we know that any challenge we face, we're just going to keep going until we succeed, no matter what it takes, whether it's 12, 24, 36, 60 months, doesn't matter. The only two outcomes are that we either succeed or that we die. And as we've just discovered, if when we reach that point where we're going to die, none of this stuff will matter, the only other outcome worth considering is when we succeed. Now, when we succeed, are we going to care what we had to do to get there? Are we going to care if at one point we were out of work and running out of money? Are we going to care that we got ourselves into X amount of credit card debt? No, like, of course we're not going to care because we're succeeding. Like, we're in that space where that journey doesn't matter. And so if we're committed to this path, the only two outcomes are ones where none of the shit that's holding us back are even a consideration or matter. And the only result is that we succeed. So if you had a crystal ball, you might have heard me saying this before, but if you had a crystal ball and you could see 24 months into your future, and you could see with 100% certainty that that life, that reason that you're doing this, maybe it's the one thing if you experience that just then, but the reason that you're doing this is guaranteed success, right? You look 24 months into the future, it's done. Fact, that exists then. There's no doubt about it. There's no way it can't happen. It is done, right? Guaranteed. If that was the case and you knew that with absolute certainty, how would you feel in this moment? Would those fears and those anxieties still be controlling you? Or would it be like, weight off my chest, weight off my shoulders. Like I can stop worrying about this now because I know it's fine. There's no stress, there's no worry, there's no risk, right? Would your actions be different? What actions would you take in this moment if you knew with 100% certainty that your success was utterly guaranteed? And if you would take different actions if you knew your success was guaranteed than the actions you're taking now, what it means is the fear of failure is ruling your decisions. It is causing you to make different decisions than if you weren't fearing the failure, which means you're going to inadvertently probably manifest the exact thing that you're fearing because that's what's controlling your decisions and your actions. So if you know that if you're committed to this process, you're going to succeed no matter what, if you know that you will get there, do you need to know the hows? Do you need to connect the dots? Do you need to know the path? You don't, because all you can do is be present in each moment. And in each moment, you do the one thing that you can do that's going to move you closer to your goals. We only ever have this moment. We are human. We cannot time travel. We cannot move forward in time. We cannot move backwards in time. We only have this moment in time. This is life. That's it. Right? So all we can do is be the best person in this moment. All we can do is overcome every challenge as it comes. So there is no point whatsoever trying to predict and worry and have all this fear and anxiety about all the things that might and could and would and should and blah, blah, blah could happen in the future. Let go. Surrender to the journey, because the journey is unfolding in exactly the way that we need it to unfold in order for us to achieve the result we're saying we want to achieve. The challenges that we are being served by the universe are the challenges that we need to grow into the person we're saying we want to become. It is so damn important. And if we're fearing an uncertain challenge in the future, let me give you this perspective. Let's just reframe this for a second, all right? If you're fearing a challenge ahead of you, is that challenge a good thing or is it a bad thing? Right? So if I said to you, would crippling credit card debt be a good thing? Would being bankrupt be a good thing? Probably most people's natural reaction is no, that's a bad thing. Is it? Are we sure? If I said to you, think of the top 3 traits that you have that you value most in yourself, what are they? Maybe they're leadership. Maybe it's empathy, caring for others. Maybe it's that you are really driven, really motivated. You know, what is it that you're most proud of in yourself? What are your top traits? And whatever those traits are, I guarantee that those values, those traits, anyone who's done platinum will know what I'm talking about. Goonie, I'm looking at you. But those values and those traits will not have come from the easy times, will not have come when we're coasting, we're in a state of flow. Those traits and all of the good that we are, everything powerful that we are, has come from the most challenging times, every single time. When I went through platinum, I always looked at my mum and dad splitting up when I was 7 years old as a bad thing throughout my life. I never blamed them. I never got involved in that. I was never sort of victim mindset really, but I always looked at it as a bad event. That was how I'd labeled it. And I'd have stories as to why I was the certain way that I was, or why I responded in certain situations. And one of them actually was why I can't talk to girls was because I didn't have a father figure to teach me. Bullshit story, right? And so when I went through platinum, I realized that out of my top 10 values, 8 of those values, 8 of everything that I'm proud of in myself and everything that is exactly why I am today, 8 out of 10 directly came from that event. So was that a bad thing? Or was that the single greatest gift that I could ever have been given in my entire life, bar none? Greatest gift, by far. And if that was the greatest gift, well, we've got to recognize that the challenges ahead of us are the challenges that we need to get the next gifts that are going to get us to the next level. All right, so we've got to have this shift. We don't fear the challenges. We've got to trust in the process. Trust that the universe is going to serve us what we need to become the person we want to get to. We've got to trust and have faith that if we are committed, we will succeed. We've got to stop trying to figure out how we're going to get there. And we need to let go of all the worrying, all the stress, all the anxiety, because it is a waste of time and energy. It exists nowhere but within our own mind. Stop holding on to it. Just trust in the process. Trust that you're going to figure it out. Trust that whatever happens, it's going to work out okay. And I can say that because it always has worked out okay for every single person on this call. And I know that because you're all sitting here and like we've discussed, none of you are in mortal danger. None of you are about to get hit by a train. You're all fine. Every good, every bad, every event that has ever occurred in everyone's lives on this call has led us to this moment right now. It has always worked out okay. And therefore it always will. Trust in the process, right? So, as well as this, just a quick little couple of points. I'll tell you what, actually, I'm not going to go through these couple of points now. I want to do a quick exercise with someone and just try and break through some fear. Who's feeling brave? Who would like to come out and discuss one of their fears? Come on. Oh, Guinea. You ready? You want to do it? I got ya.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, but fearful.
Indeed, and well done for stepping up. Proud of you.
I wrote down that I'm afraid of standing out as weird.
You're afraid of standing out as weird. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. So when you say afraid of standing out as weird, how does this sort of image, when we did the exercise of stepping into that fear, how did it play out in your mind?
Well, it's, you know, I have this. I know that at some time I need to stand up and tell people what I feel about different things in life and how I see life,
Mm-hmm.
and from a very spiritual way, and I, you know, I'm afraid of being exposed as somebody who's fake or somebody who is not real, you know.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel, and I just want to make sure I understand fully where you're coming from with this, of course. So when you say fake or not real, do you mean like you're sort of putting a mask on and people think that you're not being your authentic self, or how would you describe that?
No, not really that I'm not authentic. It's more like that I believe in things that you cannot see and that are not proven, and that, or actually a lot of them are proven, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not like science or engineering. I work in an engineering company. You know, you have all these, you know, everything is like put into structure and everything, that you have to be able to calculate everything, and the way I see life is just like totally different. You know, for example, I feel that we are spiritual people who are having a physical experience and not the other way around, and most people see us like physical people, who some of us have like some kind of a weird spiritual experience, and that's something that's difficult for me to go out and say.
Got it. I understand. Okay, thank you. So if I said to you, Guinea, what would be the worst possible scenario that you could imagine from this fear coming to reality? How would that look?
If I stood on a scene somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the things that I believe in, and somebody could prove to me that I was wrong, or somehow that's probably the one that I would look like a fool, because somebody is like better at arguing about their view of things, and
Got it.
So that I can't really explain, or I can't, you know, be in the discussion or explain people what I actually mean and what I believe, and in a way that they would like embrace it and not just reject it.
Perfect. Okay, got it. And so fear of judgment, fear of what people will think of you, fear of you not being enough in the eyes of others.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that you're enough to yourself?
Not always.
Okay. Why not?
I guess I feel that I have failed in some things.
Okay. What things have you failed in?
Well, I got divorced 17 years ago. I still feel that was some kind of a failure.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the crystal ball analogy. So we look at the worst case scenario. Now let's look at the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So from where you are right now, what would be the ultimate outcome that you could imagine where this fear doesn't have anything to do with your life? It doesn't rule you. It doesn't dictate you. You don't even fear, like there's nothing that even comes to mind with it. What would your life look like if this fear didn't even exist for you?
I would be sharing what I believe in with a passion, a power, and I would be a powerful person, giving some kind of being an inspiration for other people to stand up and talk about what they believe.
Okay, so let's so in the worst case scenario, let's imagine that you were that powerful person, and you stood up and you talked about what you believed in, and you weren't afraid of what people thought. But then let's say you were judged, right? So people in your maybe engineering company, maybe family, whatever, you know, they laughed at you and they mocked you and put you down. Now, how committed are you to your journey? How committed are you to creating that ideal reality where you want to be living that best life?
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Are you going to get there?
Yes, definitely.
No doubt.
No doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And when you get there,
yes,
will you mind about anyone who's judged you on your journey?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
not when I get there. No.
Not when you get there. Okay. So what's different between the person who you'll be when you get there and the person who you are now?
Not really anything, I guess. I would have done it. I would have, gotten out of my comfort zone and done it.
So what would you do? Let's say, hypothetical question, let's say you got out of your comfort zone and you started, as of today, just being that person who you would be when you achieved that result. Let's say you started being that person, just bravely and authentically stepped out, said what you thought, regardless of what people thought. And then let's say that someone said, Guinea, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying all this spiritual BS? Like, what are you going on about? In that moment, if that happened, what would you do?
I would probably say that it's perfectly all right that the other person doesn't have the same opinion as me, and that we all have our own way in life. Mm-hmm. And that everybody are exactly the way, in the place where they need to be. And I would just accept it.
And so when you just accepted it, and then the next day you continue to move forwards, you continue to be your authentic self, you continue to work towards that vision that you're never going to quit until you get to. Let's say another person judges you, and then another person judges you. Will you just keep overcoming those challenges and keep moving forwards?
I probably would.
So the worst case scenario that we can possibly imagine is that someone judges you, you accept them, and you move on.
You make it sound so easy.
Just reframing. So that's the worst case scenario, right? So all that really remains is, well, if we know where we're going to, if we know we're not going to care about this journey when we get there, if we know that we need these challenges to become the person that we need to become, if we recognize that these challenges are a good thing because they're going to give us the skills that we need to become this person, is it worth these challenges of someone judging you, holding you back and stopping you from becoming that person? Is that worth it?
No.
If you didn't feel the biological response of fear, and you didn't have that emotion that you could feel when you got judged, would this even be a consideration?
I guess not.
No. So here's the thing, Guinea. I mean, if you recognize that, again, that someone else judging you is a good thing, What else does it mean when somebody judges you generally? What does that mean? Is there a reflection on?
Well, the feeling of not being good enough, not being enough.
So when someone judges you, does it mean that is it a reflection on? Is it about who you are, or is someone judging you really about who they are?
No, it's all about me. It's
Let me rephrase the question. I don't think I explained that or said that clearly. So let's say I judged you right now. Let's say I was like, what's she going on about? Yeah, whatever. Say I judge you. Is the fact that I've judged you, is it anything to do with you, or is it all to do with me?
Yeah.
All to do with me, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm reflecting my own fears, my own insecurities, and my own beliefs on you.
Yeah.
It's not actually anything personal. It's not actually to do with you. It's nothing more than my response to whatever's happening in the world in front of me.
Yeah.
Right? And so another little shift is you go, okay, well, if someone was to judge you and you just accept them and you realize that, you know what, this isn't anything to do with me. This is just them in a space expressing the way they need to express to normally protect their own ego. Right? There's a reason they're not open to spirituality. Again, it's probably fear. People might think they're nuts if they do, or something. That could be what's going through their head. I don't know. But they're reflecting a fear or a limiting belief on you. Because if someone is totally confident and calm and cool in who they are, totally and utterly self-believing, self-aware, present, all of those kind of things, they're not going to judge someone. They don't need to. Because they don't need to hide from anything. They don't need to cover anything up. They can accept someone and go, I respect your views and I appreciate what you believe. Whether or not that's what I believe, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to judge you for it. And so when someone's judging, that's them showing that they have an area that they need to grow into. Now, here's the thing, Gunny. If there are people who need your help, right, who need you to be a leader and move forwards and be an example and show them that you can become the person that you want to be. Is there any place for your or our, like, is there any place for our own fears and stories and voices inside our head stopping us becoming the best version of ourselves if that means we're taking from somebody else's potential future? Because if somebody could see your example and they could use that as inspiration to become better themselves, or they could gain some value from the lessons that you were sharing, if that could improve their life, if that could help them be there for their children, be a better father, a better mother, a better husband, a better wife, do we have any right to let our fears get in the way of creating a better future for other people? We owe it to everyone around us to go, you know what? There's no place for me to feel fear of being judged, of being, you know, wrong or failing or all these kind of things, because we have a moral obligation to just commit to being the best version of ourselves for the people around us. Because when we're the best version of ourselves, we give permission for other people to become the best version of themselves. And you know what? It's often the people who judged you that when you get there, will go, wow, like, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize, like, you know, how serious you were about this, and I reacted badly, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those connections will often form. And again, you've just got to realize that nothing's personal. This is just a step in your journey. It's a necessary part of the process. And if someone judges you, you go, good. This is exactly what I need to grow into being the best person that I need to be. Yeah. This is exactly the lesson that I'm experiencing. And I'm grateful that I'm going through this lesson. And gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for getting rid of fear and anxiety, right? So I just want to share this lesson in this moment off of what you said there, Gunny, because thank you so much for sharing this, right? If we're feeling fear and anxiety, we're not present, because we're future pacing. We're worrying about what might somebody think if they judge me, how would I react in this moment, blah, 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 blah. Or we're going back into the past. I failed once before, therefore I'm going to fail again. It could be a story that we run. So we're either past or we're future. The one place that we are not is present. So if you're feeling fear and anxiety, snap. You go, nope, not going to feel this. Where am I? Present. Breathe. Feel the room around you. Look around. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? Just get in this moment, in your body, in your space, in this room. Just whoosh, utterly present. Shut up the voice in your mind. Just, well, let me rephrase. Don't try and shut it up. Just observe it. Just watch it. Just go, huh, it's funny. It's interesting. Just watch what it's saying. Right? Just be present to what's happening. And when you start watching the voice in your head, it fizzles out and shuts up. Present. Then you go, what 3 things can I be grateful of in my life right now? What 3 things can I be grateful of in my life right now? I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I have running water. I'm grateful that I have food. I'm grateful I have friends. I'm grateful I have family. I'm grateful that I have a job when many people don't have a job. You know, I'm grateful that even if at times I don't necessarily enjoy my job, it's providing me the income that I need to pursue my goals. It's given me the opportunity that I need to become this best version of myself. I'm grateful that I even have the opportunity to be working on this. You know, most people go through life completely unaware. They don't get this insight that I've got. I'm grateful that I'm experiencing these challenges that are going to help me become the person I need to be. I'm grateful that that person has judged me, because you know what? That gives me an insight and an opportunity to use this situation as a lesson for myself and for them. I'm grateful for everything I'm experiencing because it's given me exactly what I need to keep moving forwards on my journey. Now, what 1 thing can I do right now in this moment to move me closer to my goals? What is it? Probably the thing you fear the most. It normally is. Then you say, what would I do if I was 10 times bolder? You go and do the thing that you need to do, right? That is a short, quick, easy way to break a pattern of fear and worry and anxiety. You go, no, stop, presence. What 3 things can I be grateful for? What 1 thing can I do right now to move me closer to my goals? What would I do if I was 10 times bolder? Deep breath, bang, go and do it. Right? A lot of the time that might be video. Video is a big one. You know, we procrastinate for ages and ages and ages on getting our phone out and shooting a video. Well, what would you do if you had 10 times bolder? Well, I'd just pick up my phone, wherever it is, there it is, and I would just hit record and I'd shoot a video and I'd post it in the 90-day video journey group. Whew, done. Okay, next. What 1 thing can I do to move me closer to my goals? And if you just show up in every single moment of your life like this all the time, what 1 thing can I do? And you constantly make a big decision to break a fear and do the next thing that scares you, can you imagine how rapidly you will start to move forwards? Like, it's insane. It's an exponential like series of stuff that just creates this incredible growth. So people say to me, like, you know, how did you go from 0 to 50K a month in 10 months? Like, when there's some people that take years and years and years. And the reason is very, very simple, right? The reason is that I didn't sit there on a fear for 3, 4 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months until I finally decided to overcome it. I felt the fear. I was like, ooh, okay, whoo, that's uncomfortable. Right. What 1 thing can I do to move me close to my goals? Okay, it's that. I know I need to go through that fear. So instead of shying away from it, I go, what would I do if I was 10 times bolder? Well, I take it head on. I'm just going to go and do it. I would then go and do it, whether that was shooting a video in public, whether that was spending more on my marketing, whether that was continuing to spend on my marketing, even though it wasn't converting. Gav, I know you know what that feels like, right? Whatever it was, you just go face the fear, do the thing that scares you, and focus entirely on where you're looking to go by being present, right? So you go, I want to get there, and present, well, what 1 thing can I do that's going to move me closer to there in this moment? That is all that matters. That's all we've got. That is it, all right? Use this process, start breaking those cycles. The first step is awareness. When you are aware and you catch yourself running this thought process again and again, catch yourself, watch it, go, huh, that's interesting. I can see it happening. Anyway, stop. Present. 3 things am I grateful for? What's the 1 thing I can do right now to move me closer to my goals? What would I do if I was 10 times bolder? Just go and bloody do it. That's it. I need a mic. There we go. Right, guys, I hope that was useful. I'm just going to check if there's anything that I've missed that I want to share with you guys. I think that is pretty much the gist of everything I wanted to cover. Yeah, good. Who found that useful? Lots of thumbs. That's what we like to see. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Anyone want to share any final thoughts, any epiphanies, any breakthroughs? Feel free to unmute. Apart from Gav. Gav, stay muted, please, bud. Look at his face. Oh, dear. No problem. All right, guys.
That's such an impact, mate. Such an impact. Well
Such an impact. It's just like a stunned silence fell over the crowd. Tumbleweed just blows across the screen. Cool, guys. As I say, really appreciate you. Yeah, anyone want to share? Pascal.
Yeah, yes, Dan, how are you?
I'm good, my friend.
Yeah,
how you doing?
I'm good. I've got this fear that is really, really holding me back. It's based on family. I don't know, most people that have parents here will relate to it. When I was young, my parents broke up, and ever since they broke up, I realized that that has made me become the person I am today. And I know the impact that had on my siblings and all that. So getting married now, 3 months into SFM, my wife spoke to me, sat down and told me that she wanted us to break up. Somehow I told her something that she stayed with me. And that has been like my value. So that I don't want to build this business and leave my family behind. Now you come to this point where you are, where your partner, it's not that they don't see the result. They see the results you're getting. You know that you keep trying to convince them to come, not to convince them, to get them to see the light.
Yeah.
They don't see it. And it's kind of challenging when you know that when two of you work together, you will get a quicker result and you will get to that goal faster. But when you see yourself doing it all by yourself, it's challenging. And that's where my fear is. I don't really want to build this business and get there in 2 years and without nobody alone. And or would you rather get there in 4 years with everybody and you have a whole family? So that's where my fear is. It's not that I don't know what to do, but if I take those massive, bold steps, it might shatter the values that I have. So it's kind of in between for me.
Gotcha. Okay, this is a great question, and this is a similar topic that was raised twice actually at the Black Retreat. Okay, maybe 2.5 times. There's one that was similar. So the important thing, there's a couple of important points that we need to iron out, and this may be a tricky question, but Pascal, if I said to you, in order of priority, number 1, keeping your family together, number 2, succeeding in the SFM business. If you could only pick one, what would you pick?
That's dangerous.
Family. Okay, good, because it's important that we get clear about this order of priority, because we need to filter our decisions on what is truly important to us if it ever came down to it. Now, that being said, let's say, let's talk about the worst case scenario of, let's say that the family did break up, okay? Family did split up, wife and kids left. I know, obviously, you're not going to want to think about that. I totally get that. However, one of the steps in overcoming fear is to embrace the worst possible scenario, because when we embrace the worst possible scenario, it stops controlling us. Because here's what happens, right? And this is to do with manifestation. So when we have no fear around something, like the crystal ball, take the crystal ball analogy. If we knew with 100% certainty that your future with your family was utterly secure, you were going to be living happily ever after, you know, you'd be having great success in your business, you guys are closer than you've ever been before, that outcome is guaranteed, set in stone, no doubt, done. If you knew that, your decisions that you would make in that moment would be from a place of abundance and a place of utter focus on your goal. There's no fear, there's no distractions, there's no nothing. There is only what you're doing in the moment to move you closer to exactly where you believe without any shadow of a doubt that you know that you're going to. So the decisions that you make from that space are the right decisions, because it's moving towards the reality, the only reality that you will create, because your beliefs lead to your thoughts will lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. So what you believe will dictate your result. Okay? And so when somebody is fearing something, and a fear is in the background or a fear is in the forefront or wherever it is, if your actions are different because you're feeling that fear than they would be if you just had the crystal ball and no fear, well, different actions will create a different result. So what result do you think you're going to create if the fear is influencing your actions? And it's a paradox, because a lot of the time,
basically that, oh, sorry, go on. My fear is not basically that the family will break up. It's just that I believe that if we work together as a couple, that we'll get the results faster. But where you see yourself, when you see yourself, you're the one making all the decisions, you're the one writing all the emails, you're the one doing everything, doing the videos, everything. And the other person is just watching, and it's challenging to go through that. And I don't want to get there. So I know definitely I will get there, but you don't want to get there again and leave them and realize that you could have just given them extra support and they will get there with you. Just like your brother now, he has recently joined SFM. When you started, he didn't start with you.
No, he actually joined at the Black Retreat because I brought him along as my +1.
Okay. So that's where I am. It's not that the results will get there. I have the belief that I will get there. It's just the work. I see myself doing a whole lot of things at the same time.
Got it. Right.
Yeah, and there's
I
no
understand. Okay, okay, so let's look at it in that scenario. All right. So again, if you had the crystal ball and you knew that in, let's say, 12 months' time, you and your wife were working together beautifully on the business. You know, she had her things, you had your thing, you were working together as a brilliant, like perfect team. And everything was fantastic there. If you knew that outcome was guaranteed in 12 months, how would you show up right now in your business today?
I'll just keep going doing what I'm doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing. And if you, let's say that she didn't come round, right? Worst case scenario, let's say she didn't come round, she didn't come on your side. I can hear that you're determined and you believe wholeheartedly that you're going to achieve that result anyway. Therefore, you will. When you achieve the result, will she likely come round in that situation, do you think?
It's not that she doesn't believe the whole thing. It's just, I don't know what it is for her. She doesn't just get it. It's there. She sees the results. She sees all the things. I show her everything. I see all the tracking. I use even your spreadsheet to compare with mine to monitor my. I do all that. It's all, everything is all really on point. You can actually write a timeline when I could get this result. You can actually see that. But okay, why don't you join? Let's do this together. You see, that energy is not there. But she understands it, but she doesn't. I don't know what it is that can help.
Let me ask you this, Pascal, why do you need her to get it?
That's another point. I always say to myself, I can do this alone. And that if Dan could do this alone, I could do it alone. But that's like I said again, there's so many things to juggle around, family, children, all that stuff. And when you see yourself working like 24 hours, like boom, you just know that your body was going to shut down after a while. You can't keep up with that pace.
So let me put this idea to you. So would it be fair to say that maybe one of the main motivators is you want her to get it so that she will join you on the business so that you can share some responsibilities and you can stop working like a maniac 24/7?
Possibly.
Cool. So look at it from her point of view. She gets the business system. She sees how insanely you're working. She's maybe not as passionate about it as you are. Do you think she's going to also want to go, okay, Pascal, yeah, I want to work 24/7 with you like a maniac as well about something that I'm not that passionate about?
No way.
Why would she want to do that? So here's the thing. So at the moment, what this is, the angle that this is coming from, and this, again, is totally natural. It's 100% natural, and I totally get it because you're going through this, and of course you're going to look at it from the perspective that you're going through. Of course you are. But at the moment, you're looking at it from the perspective of what you need, and you want her to share the burden. She doesn't want to share the burden, so naturally there's going to be resistance there. And so if the fear, so when we talk about this manifestation thing, if the fear at the moment is that you would like her to share this burden with you, but you don't really, she's maybe not going to want to do that, and you're fearing and not sure whether she's going to come around or she's not going to come around, the fear's dictating your behavior subconsciously. And this will show up in little ways that we won't be able to tell. Things like the way that you explain it to her, she'll get it, but she'll hear the way that she will feel and the way that she will respond in that situation will be in line with the way that you're coming across when you're ruled from a state of fear. So if in sales and closing, for example, the way that this shows up in sales is if I fear that the prospect is going to say no, when I ask for the order, I go, so would you like to go ahead, Mr. Prospect? Like the way I deliver that question, I'm dictating the answer that he's going to say by the way I deliver that question, because I'm delivering that question from a state of fear. I think he's going to say no. Therefore, the way that I deliver the question and my intent behind the question is positioning this situation to manifest in the only way that it can, which is that the prospect says no, because my decision is coming from a space of fear. Everything only goes down the path towards what we are manifesting from the state that we're in, from our vibration, all of this kind of stuff. Now, we as humans, we can't possibly detect all the subtle nuances that are going on in every situation, but be aware that we are manifesting our reality. We are creating it, not consciously, but subconsciously. We are bringing into the world exactly what we're holding in our mind. So here's the point, Pascal. My advice to you, my friend, would be okay with and embrace the potential future where you two never work together. She never comes on board. And you go, you know what? If that happens, that's cool. I'm still going to figure it out. I love her. She's my wife. I'm committed to her. I want her to be happy. I want to make my number one priority just showing up for her in a way that is in her best interest constantly. I'm going to keep doing me. I'm going to keep working towards my goals, but I don't need her to come on board for me to feel content on the path I'm going. If my path takes longer because of it, so be it. That's the path that I need to become the person that I need to be, because it's going to serve me the lessons I need to grow into this person. And you know what? It's a good thing, because you get all the lessons. You get to experience all of it. And how much better place is that going to put you in business in future? A lot better, right?
That's my, I think you really nailed it for me, because I see the both of us together in the future as powerful couples. But now you're trying to get me to create being myself and being there. She's not being the person that I want her to be, in the sense that I really want the both, because I want to be an example to many parents out there that it's possible that they can keep their family together and also build this business. And you don't want to shatter your family and get up there. So that's my reality now, that I just have to be there and allow her to do her stuff.
Exactly. And here's what I suspect will probably happen over the coming weeks if you do this. And the reason I can say this is because through coaching, there's been a few times that this sort of thing has happened in this way. When you stop coming at it from a place of, I need her to do this because it will make my life easier, and you come at this from a place of, I'm just going to give her the space to be whoever she wants to be and let her grow into whatever space she wants to grow into. I'm determined on my journey, but I don't have a need for her to come on board with me. There's a theory, it's like the elastic band theory, and this is a theory in attraction, right? So when in attraction, the idea is the more that you push like this towards someone because you want them to do something, like the more that the elastic band goes slack, and the more that they want to pull away to keep the tension in the elastic band. The more that you become just cool with being you, and like you don't need her to change her behavior to suit your needs, you just focus on where you want to get to. You focus on being a loving husband for your wife, and then whatever unfolds will unfold because you know where you're going. What happens is she naturally wants to come towards you. As you start moving, she goes, okay, where are you going? What is it you're doing there? Blah, 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 blah. And like husband and wife couples in SFM, when they come at it from this space and they just relax and stop trying to convince the other one to come on board, the other one naturally feels much more comfortable going, what are you doing? And showing a bit of curiosity, because they don't feel that they're going to get roped into something they don't want to do. It's like much more low pressure. And then when they start exploring it, they start to build a passion about it and they start to want to go with you down this path. And so therefore we have inadvertently manifested the exact thing that we're focusing on from a state of abundance instead of a state of fear. All right. So it's a different thought process and a different perspective, and that will achieve a different result. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Good stuff, my friend. Great point. Thank you for coming up, Pascal. Appreciate you Guys, conscious of everyone's time. I know we've run a little bit over, but I really, 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 really hope that was really powerful. If anyone has any points that they want to share, pop them in the comments below this replay, which probably won't be up tonight because yesterday's webinar took like 5 hours to upload. If not, it'll be up tomorrow morning. But guys, have an amazing week. I will see you guys next week on either Tuesday, the Q&A show with me and Alex, Wednesday, my weekly webinar, and this call won't be on next week. By the way, last quick point before we wrap, I think this call may end up being monthly instead of fortnightly, but I'll keep you posted in the group. And also when I do post the next event for this, make sure to sign up so that you get the webinar details, and I'll see you on the call next time. Thanks guys, speak to you soon. Bye for now.